If I give you a piece of cake and 2 bottles of water, how many days could you survive in a car? A man is driving when suddenly the tunnel behind his car starts to collapse. He slams on the gas, but the tunnel in front of him collapses as well. The man passes out, and when he wakes up, he finds himself trapped in the car. Fortunately, he isn't injured. He takes out a bottle of Spring of Life water and gulps down a big mouthful to calm his nerves. But just like that, he's already consumed a quarter of his lifeline. He pulls out his phone and dials 119 for help, but the operator is completely unreliable, thinking it's just a minor accident, and slowly dispatches a small rescue vehicle. When the rescue team arrives at the tunnel entrance, they are stunned. How are they supposed to handle a situation like this? The authorities mobilize large-scale rescue efforts. Rescue team leader Lau, he calls the man and tells him that the tunnel collapse is severe and the rescue will take some time. The man's phone still has 78% battery left. They agree to call each other every day at noon and keep the phone turned off at other times. He then takes stock of the supplies in his car. The man still has a bottle of drinking water and a birthday cake. Lowy tells him to ration the water over 7 days, taking only a small sip each time. He promises the man that he will rescue him before the water runs out. When they arrive at the other end of the tunnel, the rescue team sends in drones to assess the situation, but the mountains are full of iron ore, which severely interferes with the signal, causing the drones to quickly crash. Now the captain decides to go into the tunnel himself to check things out. He calls his apprentice, and the two of them quietly drive deeper into the tunnel, afraid that any noise might trigger a secondary collapse. They soon arrive at the collapse site and park the car. Old T steps forward and peers through the gaps in the rubble. Just then, his unreliable apprentice accidentally sets off the car horn, startling Old He. He scolds his apprentice, telling him not to make any noise. At that moment, Old He's phone rings. It's the man calling. The man says he heard the horn just now, and there's no time to worry about anything else. He tells the apprentice to keep honking the horn. The man hears it clearly, which means he's not far from where they're searching. But as expected, the tunnel immediately begins to collapse. Old He quickly climbs into the vehicle. The accelerator, woman took the gas tank, and the two of them quickly reversed. They rattled fell in front of them. Fortunately, they were fast enough and escaped without any danger. Old He calls the man, and he too has survived the disaster. And after this collapse, the man sees a ventilation fan in front of the car, with the number 3 written on it. Old He confirms the man's location. It's right at the 3rd ventilation fan in the tunnel. The authorities quickly devise a rescue plan. They prepare to start drilling from directly above the vent, while also excavating from inside the right side of the tunnel. With a 2-pronged approach, the man keeps a close eye on the clock inside the car. When it's time to eat, he pours out a bottle of water, holds it in his mouth for a long time before finally swallowing, and then eats a small piece of cake. Suddenly, there's a noise in front of the car. The man turns on his flashlight and moves closer to check it. Turns out to be a member of the rescue team. The man follows the rescue team forward, passes through the car's front ventilation fan, and discovers another car on the other side. There's a woman sitting inside, and she's still alive. A woman is trapped in a car, with a huge boulder pressing against her chest, and a steel bar scraping her abdomen. A man finds her and tells the woman that he has already contacted the rescue team, and they will be saved soon. The woman asks him, "Do you have any water?" He hasn't had any water for several days. The man goes back to the car and looks at the 2 bottles of water in his hand. He hides the extra bottle, but after hesitating for a while, he pours some water from the fuller bottle into the other, and gives the water to the woman. The woman asks if her puppy could have a little water too. The man pours some water into his hand, and lets the puppy lick it. A few days later, the woman said she had run out of water, and asked the man if he could spare her a little more. The man didn't have much water left either, but he still brought his water over. When he got into the woman's car, he discovered that she was already unresponsive. Panicking, the man tried to pour water for the woman with trembling hands, spilling a lot in the process. The woman was too badly injured and had already died. The man, disheartened, returned to his car. To make matters worse, he discovered that the cake he had been reluctant to eat had actually been eaten by the Paw Patrol, with no water or food left. The man fell into despair. He called the rescue team leader, Lau Hei, who told him that the ridge was very hard, and it would still take some time to dig through the tunnel. The man could only wait. The team leader also told the man to start collecting his urine just in case. Having been trapped in the tunnel for more than 10 days, the man noticed that the Paw Patrol seemed to have something in its mouth. He found a bag of dog food in the woman's car, and he and the dog divided it up. This solved his most urgent problem. He took off the dog's anti-bark collar, and out of curiosity, put it around his own neck. Would this thing actually be useful? The rubble next to the car door shifted, and the man discovered there was a large open area outside the car. He stepped out to take a look and saw a steel bar dripping water. He tasted it was fresh water, safe to drink. Now he had water too. Hope was rekindled in the man's heart. All he needed to do now was wait calmly for rescue. On the 17th day of being trapped, the tunnel was about to be opened. Oldie told the man to pay attention to any sounds in the tunnel. The man listened carefully, but there wasn't a sound coming from above the tunnel. The drilling machine had already broken through the asphalt surface at the bottom of the tunnel, which was strange. Oldie took out the construction blueprints and compared them with drone footage taken when the tunnel was completed. It turned out that this complex project hadn't been built according to the plans. Of the 7 ventilation fans that were supposed to be installed, only 6 had been put in. This meant they had drilled in the wrong place. Oldie told the man the truth. They would have to drill a new hole. The man was on the verge of collapse. He called his wife. Her phone only had 1% battery left. This was her last chance to contact the outside world. Could the man hold on for another 17 days? The whole society began to discuss the situation. Many people believed the man's chances of survival were almost zero, and that it wasn't worth wasting so much manpower and resources on the rescue. At the same time, another project next to the tunnel was also about to start. Every day of delay would cost 1.5 billion manas, so everyone was ready to give up on the man, everyone except old he, who was still holding on. However, at that moment, a staff member was injured during the rescue operation, and unfortunately lost his life. The old woman hurled eggs at the woman while viciously cursing her for being selfish. But the woman kept apologizing to the old lady. Her husband had been trapped in the tunnel for over 20 days, while the old woman's son had died during the rescue operation. The old woman blamed everything on the woman.
It's you.
The woman's mother called to say that her daughter was being bullied at school. Her classmates were isolating her, saying that someone had died because of her father. Officials also came to see the woman, telling her that her husband had been missing for so long that there was almost no hope of survival. Moreover, another project next to the tunnel was waiting to start, and every day of delay would cost 1.5 billion. She also tried to persuade the woman to give up the rescue, but what could this frail woman possibly do? All she could do was keep silently repeating to herself, what if he's still alive? The whole world had given up on the trapped man, except for one radio station, which gave him 5 minutes every day to play his favorite songs. On this day, the woman went to the radio station for one last call. She asked her husband, "Are you cold? Are you cold? Today, I already signed the papers. The blasting work for the other tunnel will soon begin, which also means there will be no more rescue efforts." As she spoke, she was already sobbing uncontrollably.
I don't understand anymore. Goodbye. Alright then. So you still play Seer?
Yes, the man was still alive. He kept taking apart his phone over and over, biting the battery with his teeth, but the phone still wouldn't turn on. He desperately wanted to tell his wife that he was still alive, but there was simply no way for anyone to know. Today was the day scheduled for the blasting to begin. The team leader decided to go down into the tunnel one last time to check things out. He took the detection equipment and walked down from the lift that didn't want to give up without any closure. When he got down there, he turned on the detection equipment. It was completely silent all around, not a sound to be heard. Just as the team leader was about to use the detector to probe deeper, the blasting above was about to begin. The workers hurriedly pulled the team leader back up. In the chaos, the detector head fell into the tunnel. The team leader returned to the surface, ready for the blast. As the explosion went off, rocks in the tunnel collapsed, and the man had to dodge and weave through the gaps. Fortunately, he wasn't hit by any falling stones. The team also cried out in fear. At that moment, the team leader noticed that the detector was picking up an audio signal. He put on the headphones and listened carefully. He heard that the man below was desperately pressing the earpiece, as if it were his final whistle of life. The anguished team leader was certain that the man was still alive. He immediately ordered the blast to be cancelled, halted the construction, and the rescue operation was launched at full force once again. On the 35th day of being trapped, the man was carried out by the rescue team and saw daylight again before boarding the plane. The man gave the team leader a thumbs up. A year later, on their daughter's birthday once again, the wife drove with the man through the tunnel, holding his hand. This time, they passed through the tunnel safely, without any incident. Follow me. Black Eye Movie reviews only the best and most popular films.